please remain here. We will have now someone on stage who's crucial because it's the person who's sponsoring our lunch. We have now Simon Johnson. You're an aerospace industry expert, but also you're representing today Innovaud. I will leave the floor to you and hand over my microphone to commands right now.
Thank you very much. So, as I don't know if my slides are going to come out, but as the sponsor of the lunch, I get to present myself. So, my name is Simon Johnson. I'm actually a business mentor for startups and scale-ups in Switzerland, but also representing Canton Vaud, an innovation agency. And apparently, this is what we do. So if you're interested in learning more about how to set up your business, how to partner in Switzerland, come to me. I'm going to be around today and tomorrow. I found the conversations this morning very, very interesting, but my expertise is actually more into aviation, but I think there's some lessons to be learned. And I like the last question about, should we be actually looking at what aviation is doing when looking at cybersecurity in space? But also, I think it's all about the question of trust. And I think people don't trust technology. They trust the authorities which allow these technologies to be used. So when I hear the people on stage kind of questioning what they're doing, I think that something needs to be addressed, because at the end of the day, it's who do we trust and not do we trust the technology. It's who allows the technology to be used. So the Canton Vaud is in this sort of very important and active part of Switzerland. And I'm going to click through these very quickly because I'm in between lunch. But we have some pretty famous companies which are based in Canton Vaud, like Logitech, and some which you would maybe know more like Nestle. But also we have a very, very active, this is why people come to Canton Vaud. Obviously, same reasons as most people say, talent, but also I think there's a quality of life and a stability which people appreciate in Switzerland. And also we have some great academic network in Canton Vaud around the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, but also IMD, which is a business school, but also design schools and also hospitality, which I think the combination is quite interesting and allows to develop some great services for the industry. And we also have a great scale-up program and success stories. And CYSAT is obviously based in Canton Vaud. That's partly the reason I'm here. And I've been following their progress since the beginning and even before, as I was involved in quantum key distribution, which was a company which Patrick Trinkler was involved before. But anyway, here's some examples, some numbers. But what I really want to show is we have some very interesting, what I call sector hubs. And one is around Unlimited Trust Campus, which is about creating trust in the industry and the technology. Coming back to that, which is based in Canton Vaud. So if you're interested in learning more about that, come and talk to me. But the other thing I wanted to quickly cover is the focus around aerospace, and specifically some of the challenges in the aerospace industry, the aviation industry, which I think are relevant to space industry, specifically decarbonization. And Switzerland had this project to fly around the world using only solar energy, which was in 2015, which was actually designed in Switzerland. But also we have some very interesting projects around how do we provide electric propulsion, how do we certify electric propulsion systems for aviation. And it's also about, the reliability, but the trust of the systems. And Switzerland was actually very much involved in defining the standards and how to certify electric propulsion systems. Also, there's a belief that, we want to make aviation sustainable and green, but it has to be profitable. And this is a very interesting project. There are 500 operators of seaplanes around the world. Providing an aircraft which is much cheaper to operate and maintain is going to allow them to make more money than they currently do with old-fashioned technology. The other thing which I think is interesting is we don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. We can actually repurpose existing infrastructure and technology and not necessarily reinvent it. And this is an example where we all talk about how we want to put renewable energies into hydrogen, but we don't have the infrastructure to actually distribute, store hydrogen, but we do have it for ammonia because it's used as a fertilizer. And here we have an interesting project where we use ammonia to carry green hydrogen, but then we need to crack it when it's being used. And there's several examples how you can actually use hydrogen into internal combustion engines or into turbines. Which then brings me on to the final point I want to make is we have a very active drone ecosystem, and it's all about the applications, very specific applications. But what I think the point here I was going to make is we have new uses of the airspace, but we have new users which have new objects they want to put in airspace. And what I'm hearing about space is the same thing. Who are these new users? who's going to authorize them to go into space. And if I take it one step further, we have actually novel aircraft designs which have come because of the drone industry. And there's one example I want to give specifically. By using hydrogen as propellant, one project is actually to send hypersonic aircraft into the stratosphere and beyond. And these will be actually sharing space with launch systems, which will be going, and the question is, how are you going to regulate both? People are trying to put satellites into orbit, and people are trying to put aircraft into ballistic paths. And so this is a question where both agencies, both space and aviation agencies, are going to have to collaborate. And obviously security. We are putting autonomous systems in space. How are we going to protect them? How are we going to make sure they're safe from cyber attacks? And both the data they use, but unlike here's an example of augmented reality for pilots. So here, CYSAT is also very active in making the systems safe. And I think this is a really important point, is about the mindset. It's very important that people, the regulators, the people who do certification, the people who set the standards, they have to be trusted, but also they have to have the right mindset. They need to be interested in what are the uses and what are the new uses of space and airspace. So I invite you to come along if you want to learn more about the Swiss way. I'm going to be around, as I said, for lunch, but also tomorrow. Thank you very much. Good lunch.